this pandemic has done the absolute the absolute classic worst case scenario for communities. There's no question about it. You know, I think what you've heard from Emma and Ali is echoed in what Steph said in terms of that massive rise in demand, in terms of what the groups such as those we've heard from today are facing. What the massive upsurge in demand with the complete drop-off in terms of supply. And so that's why it's been so important for us to work closely with national funders, but also with regional funders. And I'm really grateful that there are a couple on the call today of those regional and local funders who wouldn't normally work with us directly, but have been incredibly flexible and supportive during this time. Genuinely appreciate that kind of collegiate working, and I think it's a real testimony to our region, to our sector, that actually we're able to do that at such speed. And you know, so that's a real positive. But I think in terms of what Emma was saying earlier around the insecurity and worry about the future, that sort of perfect storm is facing us, in that, you know, we've got organisations who are their staff are furloughed, so they've got a limited ability to respond to demand. Local authorities are facing their own challenges, as are the wider public sector. Businesses are trying desperately to survive, and it's really important for all of society that business does survive and thrives, and we get the economy back into action. But obviously for those community groups that have taken measures themselves to try and raise their own income and diversify their income portfolio, it's been absolutely catastrophic, in that things such as their trading income have just closed down, and the ability to fundraise has disappeared. So it is a bit of a bleak picture and a worry going forward, but all we can do is take those steps together that we've been doing over the last 4 months. And I think what we'd like to do is actually just share something which is coming up, which is a short video, and it is very short, I'm reassured by Rachel, which is a celebration of some of the work that we've been able to support through the Healthy Holidays programme. Now, the Healthy Holidays programme will be familiar to most of you. We've been running it for several years now, and it's a marvellous piece of work, which is again bringing together a whole range of donors and funders alongside each other, and channeling it into this Healthy Holidays programme, which was designed to work across school holidays. Sorry, Rachel, I'm not quite there, nearly. So it was designed to work across school holidays, but actually for the lockdown, we realised we needed to start earlier. So this year we've been working with groups right from March, in order to make sure that there was support for families that would otherwise be dependent on free school meals, and that's been very important and a lifeline. I think it's well over £500,000 has been invested pre the summer holidays, and now £1 million programme which is supported by the Department for Education, which is running forward over the next couple of months, basically to try and support healthy activity and access to food for a range of our most vulnerable families. But just as Ali was explaining, it's also that important mental health lifeline, that boost of confidence, that the building of friendships and trust. And I think that's really well exemplified in the video we're about to see. So thank you, Rachel.
My name's Chrissy. We are in Armley at the moment, and we're here to do Garden Movers. So working in partnership with Angela Dance, and we've come together to work with them because at the moment young people and children are locked down, and we are aware that it's affecting mental health, and they're not getting out. So we've put this into practice, and we're moving around the family area. The response has been absolutely amazing. This street that we're in today has actually been requested. So we've been to like 5 different locations so far. So this one is a request from a lot of people in the area. So hopefully we'll get more requests. So as you probably see from the videos, everybody's spaced out, getting some exercise, doing some fun, and just kind of getting that community spirit going in lockdown.
It's important for them to do it because they're still socialising even though they're locked down, and it's fun for kids, and they just love it, absolutely love it.
Hopefully that's given a little flavour of one of the amazing projects that's been able to keep going during lockdown, and clearly that's going to be something we need to build on and develop in future months. So coming up to a conclusion now, first of all, as I mentioned before, I really want to thank the flexibility of our supporters. It's the kind of flexibility and preparedness to repurpose some of the funds that they'd already committed to us, that has allowed us to be able to respond so quickly, alongside the tremendous effort of the staff team at the foundation. I can't thank them enough for their tireless work on that, and of course the tireless work that's been happening in community organisations all across the city and across the Bradford district as well. I particularly want to thank Max and Claire and the SWECO team for continuing to sponsor us in terms of our 100 clubs. Thank you so much for your flexibility and your preparedness to stand beside us at this time. As you'll realise, we're also a charity, and actually in terms of our flexibility and our ability to look to our own long-term sustainability, I just can't thank enough all of you who have been prepared to stay with us and stand beside us at this time. Clearly what we've had to do is get our heads down and deliver in terms of getting money in, but also straight out through the door and into the use of the communities that we serve, and so that's meant that we have been rather blinkered in terms of getting that activity underway, but that doesn't mean to say we're not incredibly grateful to our supporters, and we do notice and we know, and it's such a reassurance to know that you are there and that you're there for us at this particular time. It's incredibly humbling how generous and how thoughtful people have been in reaching out and supporting us at this time. So thank you so much. Thank you also for attending today. Our experiment, I think, is seems to be working so far, but in terms of the next steps, it would be really good, as I said, to hear from everybody, or anybody who've got some suggestions about how to improve or work with this more. Laura's just reminded me there's a longer version of the Dazzle video if people are interested, which we can circulate later. So there's various bits and pieces that we can add on using the technology, but of course nothing quite replaces actually being able to see you in the flesh and being out and about together. So hopefully we will get to that point where we can actually get together before too long, but I think at the moment we're not making any specific plans in that direction. That has brought me to the end of my briefing, so I wondered if it might be nice just to unmute and say hi and bye and wish everyone a really lovely day. I feel like I've done an awful lot of talking and it would be lovely just to hear other people's voices.